Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Page Bait. That is the show where I read the first 3 pages of some of the most popular books that I know nothing about and give you my uninformed, unhelpful commentary as I go. Today's book was selected using a highly scientific process. That is, I was like, Valentine's Day is coming up, so I probably should do a romance or something. And my husband, who happens to work at our local movie theater, was like, "Hey, Wuthering Heights is coming out next week and it's supposed to be huge." And then I was like, I've never read Wuthering Heights. And then I realized it was the perfect candidate for this episode. So I'd like you to take a moment to appreciate all the hard work I put into selecting today's book. Let's go over to Amazon and see if we can find ourselves a free preview. Now, unlike most books that I do on this channel, this is kind of a ye olde book. And so we have 18 million different editions. We've got pretty editions, we've got kind of like boring editions, and we've got whatever this edition is down here, I don't even know. But I think that this one has a preview, so we'll go ahead and open that up, read a sample. And we jump right to chapter 1, which is fantastic because normally I have to skip a million pages of copyrights and dedications and forwards and backwards and in-betweens before I can find out chapter 1. So good job, publisher, on this. We're getting right to the meat of the situation. Let's give this sucker a little read. I have just returned from a visit to my landlord, the solitary neighbor that I shall be troubled with. This is certainly a beautiful country. In all England, I do not believe that I could have fixed on a situation so completely removed from the stir of society. A perfect misanthropist's heaven, and Mr. Heathcliff and I are such a suitable pair to divide the desolation between us. A capital fellow. He little imagined how my heart warmed towards him when I beheld his black eyes withdraw so suspiciously under their brows. This man has retractable eyeballs. I did not know this was a thing, but now I know. I guess it was one of those things that happened in England in the 1800s. As I rode up, and when his fingers sheltered themselves with a jealous resolution still further in his waistcoat, as I announced my name. "Mr. Heathcliff?" I said. A nod was the answer. Okay, so we got a broody guy with retractable eyeballs, who's probably really rude, and the author's last name is Bronte. I'm guessing there's going to be red flags all over, and he's going to be depicted as the perfect man, whom the heroine swoons over the entire book, and I'm just like, girl, you can do so much better. But anyway, maybe I'm judging too quickly. Let's keep reading. "Mr. Lockwood, your new tenant, sir. I do myself the honor of calling as soon as possible after my arrival, to express the hope that I have not inconvenienced you by my perseverance in soliciting the occupation of Thrushcross Grange. I heard yesterday that you had some thoughts—" "Thrushcross Grange is my own, sir," he interrupted, wincing. "I should not allow anyone to inconvenience me if I could hinder it. Walk in." The "walk in" was uttered with closed teeth, and expressed the sentiment, "Go to the deuce." Rude, broody, what else do you want in a man? Even the gate over which he leant manifested no sympathizing movement to the words, and I think that circumstance determined me to accept the invitation. I felt interested in a man who seemed more exaggeratedly reserved than myself. When he saw my horse's breast fairly pushing the barrier, he did not put his hand to unchain it. Oh, he did put out his hand to unchain it. I thought he was just locking her out there for a second, but actually I can't read. But you know what? Like, nothing would surprise me that this guy does at this point, so it's fine. And then sullenly preceded me up the causeway, calling as we entered the court, "Joseph, take Mr. Lockwood's horse and bring up some wine. I need some wine to get through this." Here we have the whole establishment of domestics, I suppose, was the reflection suggested by this compound order. No wonder the grass grows up between the flags, and the cattle are the only hedge cutters. Joseph was an elderly. He, okay, what old man? Something. The Zoom thing is covering it. Oh no. Perhaps through hail and Slimy. I think I can't see the Zoom things covering it, so we're just gonna have to use our imagination on that part. The Lord help us, he so soliloquized in an undertone of peevish displeasure, while relieving me of my horse, looking meantime in my face so sourly that I charitably conjectured he must have need of divine aid to digest his dinner, and his pious ejaculation had no reference to my unexpected advent. That was a sentence. Wuthering Heights is the name of Mr. Heathcliff's dwelling. Wuthering being a significant provincial adjective descriptive of the atmosphere tumult to which this station is exposed in stormy weather. Pure, bracing ventilation they must have up there at all times. Indeed, one may guess the power of the north wind blowing over the edge by the excessive slant of the few stunted firs at the end of the house, and by a range of gaunt thorns all stretching their limbs one way, as if craving alms of the sun. Happily, the architect had foresight to build it strong. The narrow windows are deeply set in the wall, and the corners defended with large jutting stones. So we've got a house all surrounded in thorns, as if Mr. Heathcliff, with his retractable eyeballs and his somber nods, doesn't make him perfect enough for you. Before passing the threshold, I paused to admire the quantity of grotesque carving lavished up over the front and especially about the principal door, above which, among a wilderness of crumbling griffins and shameless little boys, I detected the date 1500 and the name Hareton Earnshaw. I would have made a few comments and requested a short history of the place from the surly owner, but his attitude at the door appeared to demand my speedy entrance or complete departure, and I had no desire to aggravate his impatience previous to inspecting the penetralium. One stop brought us to the family sitting room, without any introductory lobby or passage. They call it here the house, preeminently. It includes kitchen and parlor, generally. But I believe at Wuthering Heights the kitchen is forced to retreat altogether into another quarter. At least I distinguished a chatter of tongues and a clatter of culinary utensils deep within, and I observed no signs of roasting, boiling, baking about the huge fireplace, nor any glitter of copper saucepans and tint of colanders in the walls. One end, indeed, reflected splendidly both light and heat from ranks of immense pewter dishes, interspersed with I I think I should have a challenge for books written from this period. You can't you have to complete every sentence without taking any breaths in between, and we'll see who turns blue the fastest. Silver jugs and tankards towering row after row on a vast oak dresser to the very roof. The latter had never been underdrawn, its entire anatomy lay bare to an inquiring eye, except where a frame of wood laden with oak cakes and clusters of legs, mutton, ham concealed it. I can't do this. It's too much. It's too much. Above the chimney were sun-dry villainous old guns and a couple of horse pistols, and, by way of ornament, three gaudily painted canisters disposed along its edge. The floor was of smooth white stone, the chairs high-backed primitive structures painted green, one or two heavy black ones lurking in the shade. In an arch under the dresser reposed a huge liver-colored bitch pointer surrounded by a swarm of squealing puppies, and other dogs haunted other recesses. This author leaves nothing to the imagination. We know every detail of the layout of this place, along with all the little decorations it has in it. The apartment and furniture would have been nothing extraordinary, as belonging to a homely northern farmer with a stubborn countenance and stalwart limbs set out to advantage. Did my brain just like sparked out there and died. This book is too advanced for me. I need to get some Dr. Seuss or something like that, I think. You know what I should do? Okay, what's more my speed? Fox and Socks. I'll read that whole book in one breath. See if I can do which one I can do better. Can I read this entire book without stumbling? All these descriptions, or can I read Fox and Socks without stumbling? The answer is almost. There's just like one page in Fox and Socks where I think it's the pig brooms page that I always lose it on that page. So yeah, this will be good practice for Fox and Socks. In an arch under the dresser reposed a we already read that part. The apartment furniture would have been nothing extraordinary, as belonging to a homely northern farmer with a stubborn countenance and stalwart limbs set out to advantage knee branches and graters. Such an individual seated in his armchair, his mug of ale frothing around the table before him, is to be seen in any circuit of 5 or 6 miles along these hills, if you go at the right time after dinner. But Mr. Heathcliff, we're back to Mr. Heathcliff now. Okay, got through all that description. Now we're at Mr. Heathcliff. Forms a singular contrast to his abode and style of living. He is a dark-skinned gypsy in aspect, in dress and manners a gentleman, that is, as much a gentleman as many a country squire, rather slovenly, perhaps, yet not looking amiss with his negligence, because he has an erect and handsome figure, and rather Munro's. Possibly some people might suspect him of a degree of underbred pride. I have a sympathetic chord within that tells me it is nothing of the sort. I know, by instinct, his reserve springs from an aversion to showy displays of feeling, to manifestations of mutual kindliness. So he doesn't know how to express his feelings. He's broody, he's rude, he's mysterious, and insecure. The perfect man. Also, like, I would say, normally, if somebody, like, spent this much time describing a man, I would be like, okay, you're totally into him, which she probably is. But also, she also just, like, I can't say that for sure because the amount of time she just spent describing all the little knickknacks in the kitchen and the brooms and stuff. So who knows? Maybe this is just, no, she didn't describe Joseph like at all. So yeah, she's totally into this guy. Possibly some people might suspect him of a degree of underbred pride. I have sympathetic chord within that tells me it is nothing of the sort. I know, by instinct, his reserve springs from an aversion to showy displays of feeling, to manifestations of mutual kindness. He'll love and hate equally under cover, and esteem it a species of impertinence to be loved or hated again. No, I'm running on too fast. I bestow my own attributes over liberally on him. So you're projecting. That's how you say I'm projecting uh in the 1800s. Instead of saying like I'm projecting, you say I bestow my own attributes over liberally on him. That's what I'm gonna say next time I insult someone for things I feel bad about myself. Mr. Heathcliff may have entirely dissimilar reasons for keeping his hands out of the way when he meets a would-be acquaintance, to those which actuate me. Let me hope my constitution is almost peculiar. My dear mother used to say I would never have a comfortable home, and only last summer I proved myself perfectly unworthy of one. While enjoying a month of fine weather at the sea-coast, I was thrown into the company of an almost fascinating creature, a real goddess in my eyes. As long as she took no notice of me, I never told my love vocally. Still, if looks have language, the merest idiot might have guessed I was over head and ears. She understood me at last, and looked a return, the sweetest of all imaginable looks. And what did I do? I confess it with shame, shrunk icily into myself like a snail, at every glance retired colder and farther, till finally the poor innocent was led to doubt her own senses, and overwhelmed with confusion at her supposed mistake, persuaded her mamma to decamp. By this curious turn of disposition I have gained the reputation of deliberate heartlessness, now undeserved, I alone can appreciate. So he's rude, she's rude, they're both like crazy introverts. This is going to work out just great. All right, that's 3 page. That's more than 3 pages. We done here. We done here. I'm done with descriptions of pots. I probably will read the rest of this one just because I don't know. It's kind of got my attention so far, and I'd be interested to see. I am worried that I'm going to just keep hating our romantic lead and be like, but in this case, I don't think I'm going to be like, girl, you deserve so much better. Like, I don't know. I think maybe these two deserve each other. Maybe I'm being too judgmental too early. I don't know. All you like insane fans of this book, Let me know. What do you think? What do you think? Do these two deserve each other, or do they not? But anyway, that's the end of this video. So do me a huge favor and go like and subscribe to somebody else's channel because this one sucks. And if there's any books that you would like me to read that I know nothing about, please leave them in the comments and I will take a look and you will get my unhelpful commentary on what you post. Anyway, until next time, happy reading.